right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I'm going to title this video, Women's Fight Against Polygyny. The reason why we use polygyny, because that word is a whole lot more convenient than saying women's fight against multiple wives. All right. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but one thing it's going to be is accurate, truthful, and honest. All right. First of all, number one, can you imagine the type of culture our ancient Hebrew people had when there was a man and a man had 3, 4, 5, 6 wives or servants or concubines in the house? Let me tell you what's going on. You see, in this society that we find ourselves in, women will fight to maintain monogamy because it keeps their independence and their power. It takes it all away from the man. Every bit of it does. Because in a matriarchal society, everything is all about the woman. Everything caters to the woman. But in a patriarchal society, everything caters to the man. Let me give you an example. I probably know, right off the top of my head, thinking 11 polygynous families. All right, I probably know about them. And I talk to the men. I have talked to them. I talked to them, and I have talked to them quite extensively about their experiences. And in these experiences and in these things that we are dealing with in life right here, what we have had by a system of forced monogamy is we've had a system forced upon us that is far away from Hebrew culture. All right? Because it's obvious when you read the scriptures that the Most High has literally regulated. He has actually gave instructions. He's actually made laws. He's actually even spoken out of his mouth himself concerning a man having multiple wives. And there's not one condemnation in the whole of the entirety of Scripture. But when you've been reared and raised in a monogamous society, you're going to have a lot of visceral, a lot of emotion against it. And women are going to do everything they can to protect, I'm going to say a key word right here, what they call their domain. You see, this is the problem right here. First of all, number one, in order to understand and comprehend Hebrew culture and Hebrew perspective, we need to put things in proper order. Number one, if a man has a house and he brings you into his family, meaning he connects you to him, watch this. That is his house and not yours. Nobody ever says the house of Mary, the house of Jane, the house of Sarah. It's always the house of Abraham, the house of David. Whatever house the man is, he is the authority, the sole authority in that whole entire house. And this is the problem. This is a very serious problem in a society that actually pits. See, in the upper scale, upper echelon, look at Donald Trump. Is he not patriarchal? He's patriarchal. You can tell. Look at his posture. You ain't got to say nothing too much to see that. You can see it. It's obvious. But they want society to be matriarchal because they keep the confusion and they keep the fight going against each other. But for instance, women, you are not marrying the man. The man is the one who is marrying you, and you become his wife. Are you following? You understand that? And when you have children, they are his children. Y'all comprehend that? And the only way you're going to know about these is that when you know what the Bible says. For instance, there was a time when Samuel, all right, he had a time there that he was with his mother, but then when he had become weaned from the mother, he was brought up by the man. You see, in Hebrew culture, the actual women are the ones who are responsible for, rearing and training up the girls. But in Hebrew culture, once he's weaned, the man is responsible for raising a man. This is totally different than what we're looking at today in this world of monolygamy. Because monolygamy and the society of monolygamy gives all the power and all the authority and all the structure to the woman. And that's totally contrary to what this Bible says. Totally contrary to Scripture. And knowing 11 polygynous families and actually having extensive talks with them. And of course, if you haven't heard the interview that I did there with Mother Gina, then you ought to punch that in here on the internet. I may include a link down here below and listen to it yourself, because when you listen to Mother Gina talk, you, for the first time in your life, if you have never, ever heard of a woman who is a mother in Israel talk before, you will hear wisdom, you will hear virtue, you will hear knowledge, you will not only hear meekness, and I tell you, just a pearl of a great price of a woman. When you hear her speak, you're going to see exactly how far women are in American culture and American rearing in society. I mean, how far they are from it. Just totally far from it. And women today ought to ascribe to be exactly the way that Mother Gina lives and speaks. You see, first of all, I learned this as well. I learned that polygynous families, they don't care nothing about what society says. We live in a world, monolygamy, where they try to tell us that it is a, watch this. It is a just, holy, righteous, sanctified, lawful, legal union for a man to marry a man and a woman to marry a woman. But what does our scripture say? You see, that, you don't have to get out here and broadcast your personal life in front of nobody. You just live. That's all you have to do is live. But what I notice is that anytime that a woman can sense that another woman is getting ready to come into the home or is already in the home, the first thing that they all have dealt with is that spirit of competition. Now, I also learned this, is that whatever covenant agreement that the man had with the first wife, the second wife, or his first wife or additional wife, those individual covenants, they all agreed that there's never been any problem, for instance, like the man and his first wife or the man and his second wife. The problem is these two so-called wives acting like a bunch of hens, and is at each other's throat, and they cause the fight. And see, and what happens is that a man, if it is his home, it's your house, you're going to have peace in your home. And if you're having all this trouble between women or sisters inside your home, your only recourse is you done found some uncleanness in both of them, and you may have to put both of them away if they're not going to get with your agenda, because you see the focus is off. Because women practice this territorial type spirit and dominance where mine. And I'm going to put you women as well as men all in focus. Number one, that is the man's house. He is the king in his castle. You are to be there to help him, to be a help meet to him, not to cause disturbances, not to cause jealousies and envies, not to cause strife and contentions in that man's home. See, the focus is off. And that's the reason why you'll see today women will come up with all types of discussions and debates, and they're talking a lot amongst themselves now. But the majority of the women who actually do get on here and talk against polygyny or a man having multiple wives are the ones who don't even have husbands themselves, and there's no man that would actually wife them. You know what I mean? There was no man that she would actually be qualified to be a real man's wife, because a real man is not going to tolerate it. So what men have to do, and I know it's hard for you to get out of this, but you have to get out of it because you have been culturally engineered. It's just like the women have been culturally engineered. You've been trained to function a certain way in this society. What you have to do is be a man. You have to mean what you say what you mean, you have to actually, at times you have to put your foot down and say, this is the way it's going to be, this is the way it's going to be. And anytime somebody disturbs the way that you say it's going to be, then you have recourse. You have action that you have to do as a man. Because what's happened is all the authority has been taken away from a man. The government wants to use the man to go out and fight his wars, to go out and work on the labor force and stuff. But when he comes home, they don't want that man to be the king of his castle. And that's the real problem. Can you imagine how much of a king a man would feel like when he comes home and he has 2 or 3 wives or 2 or 3 concubines and 4 or 5 children, 6, 7, 8 children and stuff? Now, hey, I tell you, he's already saddled with a great responsibility, because he's already saddled how he's going to run this particular enterprise. How is he going to run this economy? How is he going to build? Because that's what women are there for. They're there to help build this man's legacy. They're there to help build this man's home. Do y'all comprehend? You understand that? And when the children go on to inherit, hopefully if they stay in the faith long enough, but the draw of the world is just so tough and so strong, then most people just want to kick the traces. Because the truth is, if a man has 2 or 3 sons, then he has an inheritance that he has to divide up, if providing that they're staying in the faith and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. But if he has 2 or 3 daughters, 4 or 5 daughters and stuff, then guess what? He's getting ready to perform a weighty matter whenever he marries those women off, or whenever he marries his daughters off. And of course, in that, hopefully that they are going to remain virgins until they actually get married to a husband. You see, the world that I came into, it's all jacked up. And we ain't had enough preachers to stand up and tell the truth about Hebrew culture. They're so inundated with the falsehoods of Christianity, they don't know where they coming or going. They don't. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell both men and women something here while I'm all over the place and giving information. Man, you're the king of your castle. And you're the ones that's charged to run that castle. And your biggest mistake is when you step outside of the authority that Yah's already given you, and you step into the realm of feelings. You step into the realm of emotions. I mean, anybody can tell if you got any discernment at all, if there's a heavy spirit in the home or if there's a disagreeable spirit in the home. Now, women today, what they do is they'll have a heavy spirit or a disagreeable spirit, and they'll become mute, and they'll become quiet, and they're non-responsive and don't want to communicate between them. And actually what that is a spirit that's trying to destroy your home because they're in some form of disagreement. Now, the women, they'll flat out, no, they'll say they love you, but they don't like the situation. But the truth is, her opinion is totally irrelevant because she's in your house. She's in your domain. She is your wife to be your helpmeet, period, point blank. And you as the authority, if you have given up any authority to your wife, you better take every bit of it back. And I would tell you this, out of speaking with all these families that I know from polygyny, the one thing I have learned from this is that whenever you have 2 or 3 or 4 women under the authority of the same husband, it is the only, and I do mean the only experience in life where women who are raised and reared in a monogamous society actually gets the opportunity, and I did say an opportunity, and gets the chance to learn how to be not only a woman, but to be a wife. Because these are a bunch of monsters in this world today. Just literally a bunch of monsters. And because, there's no one woman that can actually satisfy all the needs of a responsible man. That's just impossible and that's the reason why a lot of times in homes you're going to deal with a lot of frustrations. You're going to have a lot of bitterness. But if you got 2 or 3 wives or 2 or 3 consorts, like Hondo Solomon says, or if you have 2 or 3 wives, 2 or 3 concubines or whatever you may have you, then guess what? When you have this home, you have each one of them that you as the man can designate to do whatever you would have them to do in order to build up your home. Now, think about the way I'm talking here today. You can hear all the Jezebels come out. Every one of them. You can hear them. But you know what? Pick up this Bible and condemn what I'm saying. Because if I'm a lie, then that means David is going to hell, Moses is going to hell, Abraham is going to hell, Samuel, Elkanah, Gideon, Caleb, they all are going to hell. If I'm lying, they're all the kings of Israel, they all are going to hell, including that priest that had that concubine over in the book of Judges. They all are going to a living, burning hell. And even Christ himself, because you know why? He came through a line of polygyny. And there's not one condemnation of it in the whole of Scripture. The reason why society don't speak on it now, because they fear man and they fear the women. And everything has been turned upside down. And as a result, a man thinks he's a man because he has a penis and he can insert his penis into a woman and make a child. But if you don't have any rule, if you don't have any authority and governorship over that house and over that home, you ain't no man at all. You ain't too much of a man. You are a male. That's exactly what you are. And it's sad to say, because I tell you, you're going to have to, think about this. As a king, you're charged for the order of the kingdom. You're charged to make sure that it functions the way you would have it to function. And I can tell you, I see exactly what happens. And then you get some that, I talked to one guy and he says, yeah, I got 3 wives. And it's like anything. They all start out fine. And then give it about a year, they get settled in. And then you start to see the same thing you would on a community. You have to delegate certain responsibilities to each one. And then you'll start watching them become lax in their responsibilities and stuff. And then they'll start having secret emotions and feelings against each other and stuff. And it's a tall order. And somebody will say, well, why in the world would a man want to go through that? Well, my question is this. Why in the world would a man want to go through monolygamy to where he ain't never ruling the house and the woman has got him up as some type of window dressing as if he thinks he's ruling the house and he thinks he's leading and guiding, but she's only doing it because she's using, cunning devices, manipulative ways. You have to understand the woman is the weaker vessel, and because she's the weaker vessel, she's strong. You better learn how to honor the right way, and the honor is not bowing down and kissing her toes and feet either. We got a lot to learn. Because Jeremiah said in Jeremiah 17:4, you will discontinue from your heritage. And that's what we've done. There's nothing about American society that even resembles my ancient people, my ancient family of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Moses, Solomon, David, Jesus, Paul, James, John. There's nothing in this world. And when I'm over here in America, and when I look at this culture and I look at this religion that they're trying to sell and pawn off on everybody called Christianity, it does not resemble anything, nowhere near what this book says. Well, as the old saying goes, only God can judge me. Acts 5:29 says, we're going to obey Yah rather than man. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of changes. A lot of things got to be going. Got to happen and go on. But it does. It takes a little time, but it will make women become better wives. Once they understand and comprehend that not only their salvation is wrapped up in you, man, you the authority. Everybody think that they can go straight to Jesus, but then they forget all about the words that tells you, woman, submit yourself unto your husband. Not only does it say that, it says, wives, obey your husbands as unto the Lord. Isn't that something? So how do you do today in your role, wife? Do you obey your husband as unto the Lord? Do you? See, that's how you're going to be judged. And man, male, whoever you want to be, husband, hopefully, patriarch, king, you are going to be judged based on how you performed your role. You better make sure that your role is just like a king would run his castle. You better make sure and use wisdom while doing it. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm Pastor Dow, and I love families. I really, truly do. And I love building. But I can tell you right now, and you can tell that equally, a forced monogamous society is also economic destruction for any Hebrew family. Think about this. Let me just give you an example. Let's say a man, hypothetical situation, a faithful man has 5 wives, or 3 wives, 2 concubines. Let's just say this, all right? And he designates one to have a business, or 2. For instance, what do you mean have a business, Pastor? Well, he may want to take one, and so I tell you what, you go to dental school and you learn how to become a dentist. Now she can open up her own practice. And if she chooses to have children, guess who can watch them children? Not daycare, but one of her sister wives. Dr. Gina, most of you don't know that Mother Gina is Dr. Gina. Yeah, she has a doctorate. Can you believe that? She is a medical doctor. So in case, most of you people out there, you love giving accolades to people who have a bunch of letters behind them. So she is a medical doctor. So, she should receive some type of honor in that, shouldn't she? After all, she's been in polygyny over 25 years. And she's a medical doctor. And so she actually works at a hospital. And you know what? That's her occupation. That's her job as well. And so you have the man, patriarch, the king. He's working. And he's designated one to open up a business. And this business, they went to school and actually become a medical or a dentist. If you open up a dentist, then guess what? If he decides that she is going to have children, guess what? She don't have to worry about daycare. You know why? Because one of the other sister wives, providing that they're not foul in spirit. Well, I ain't watching your child. See, that right there is not even thought about in Hebrew culture. Even as slaves over here, you can Google it and see black mama, old mama, Negro mama, up there breastfeeding master's child. And we could do that in slavery, even though it's at the force of the hand. But you see, anytime you have any type of rebellion of any woman that is a wife in your house, she is actually rebelling against your authority and your kingdom. And she's actually telling you, man, I'm sorry, straight up tell you. But anytime I step out from under this and I start getting this foul spirit, I'm basically telling you, you ain't shit. And I don't agree with you. Not in this area, I don't. And think about that. How will the father judge that? Because everybody's going to be judged based on their roles. But anyway, what I just got finished doing is give you an economic blueprint. Because if they go out and all of them, they're working it, you got 3 incomes coming into the house. And let's say you had another one to where her job was actually doing the cooking. And then they all have different designations or places where they clean. You see the economic advantage that is already given there? When you got 3, possibly, and if you have a home business, possibly 4 checks coming in. Man, you talking about building an empire. And society don't want that. Matter of fact, because the powers that be in this earth, they're too busy trying to make sure that they eradicate the population rather than building up the population. And they're killing and murdering people, and they're trying to catch up to the birth rate in the world. Because there's a lot of people that die every day. But you think about the economic advantage if you have a home. Watch this. And let's say an average between $5,000 and $6,000 a month is coming in. Let's just use that on the low end. And let's say this man was wise enough and he had enough support base that he had a strong Israelite family and they all built this home. Each wife has her own, each wife or each concubine have their own bedroom, their own living area in the home, in the castle. Y'all begin to get this? King Castle. Y'all begin to get this. All right. And all this money starts flowing in. Guess who can designate who goes where, what goes where? Man, guess what? People do this all the time. Nursing homes do this. The majority of nursing homes are filled with women. You don't believe me? Go check it out. Just go to any nursing home and walk the halls and you're going to see the majority of women in those nursing homes. Do you know why? Because women outlive men. Period. But see, If you build following this blueprint and this plan right here, and if you're a wise enough man to do it and gain the knowledge going forward, man, and then if you had harmony in the home between the wives, between the daughters, and there's no inwarring and no infighting because they respect the king of the castle, just like, remember, women, just like you respect the Most High. Because remember, you're supposed to submit yourself to your own husbands as unto the Lord. Remember that. Remember that. That's what. Yep, that's what the word says. And you're going to be judged based on that role and that role alone. All y'all people beginning to see the reason why there's so many people fighting against this, especially women today who want to maintain monolygamy? You're going to watch a lot of these rebellious Jezebel women go ahead and go be full-blown lesbians. Watch them. Because ain't no real man is going to want that, period. And I know men don't, if you think that I'm speaking way off the cuff, anybody who you think you are, especially if you are a pastor and you have a congregation, let's have a debate. Let's have an open discussion on this. Let's talk about this. Let's do this. Because I'm a Hebrew. I'm an Israelite. I'm all about Yah's kingdom, every bit of it. Now, am I saying that you have to participate in this? No, you don't even have to be married, man. You want to be celibate? Be celibate. You want to be monogamous? Be monogamous. Be the best one you can. Either way it goes, it still doesn't take away the function of both parties. Husband, wife. Husband, concubine. Man, concubine. Man, servant. It still doesn't take away any of that at all. And I know this flies in the face of this cultural rearing here in this Christian world where they preach and teach monogamy because they can't even wrap their heads around this concept that I'm thinking. And I promise you, a rebellious, stout-hearted, stiff-necked, stubborn Jezebel woman is not going to relinquish any power. You be careful and be wary of those women out there who cut their hair, and their hair is just as short as Pastor Dow's. Ooh-wee! Boy, you know what that is? That's a pure sign that that's a he, she. That's a man. And that man gonna rule. Ooh, boy. Man, I tell you. But I just gave you a simple economic blueprint that could possibly take place there. But in order for all this to happen, everybody, all parties involved, have to be people of impeccable character. Did y'all hear what I said? Impeccable character. You must be a man that doesn't break covenant and a woman that doesn't break covenant. You must be a man and woman of your word. How good is your word today? There's going to be a rude awakening. I'm sure of it. When everybody stands before the Most High, because we're all going to be judged, every single one of us. And it's going to be amazing when these books open, and then he's going to open up this book and say, okay, man, this was your many hats. You're a son. Let's see how you perform with your son. You're a father. Let's see how you perform with your father. You're a husband. Let's see how you perform as a husband. You're also a leader. Let's see how you perform as a leader. You're going to be judged based on those roles. Women, okay, you're a daughter. Let's see how you perform. We're going to judge you on that role. All right, now you are a wife. Well, how did you perform? Or if you were a concubine, how did you perform in your role? Okay. All right. Now you're a mother. How do you do that role? When we start thinking about this and we think the right way, no wonder hell had to enlarge in herself. Because there's a lot of souls going there. There's a whole lot of souls going there. Because most people today, because of this Western cultural rearing, they can't perform and become doers, true disciples of what this word says. That's the reason why the attitudes are all wrong. There's no humility. But I'm telling you right now, from what all I've learned, is that polygyny is Yah's design to keep women humble, to keep them lowly and meek, which is in the sight of the Most High Yah, a woman of a meek and quiet spirit is of great price. And women, I'm sorry, but Yah ain't gave you no platform, nor has he ever commanded or told you to get out here and speak on social media, speak and debate men about this subject. You're supposed to be a chaste keeper at home. You're supposed to be a woman of meek and quiet spirit. You're supposed to stay your tongue and shut your mouth and then perfect what you need to perfect. which instead of running your mouth, you need to perfect being a good wife. You need to perfect being a good mother. You need to perfect building a sisterhood to help build that man's kingdom. Because when it's all said and done, hopefully, if it's done right and those sons really get it, you will be able to have an empire to be able to leave as an inheritance for the children. This wisdom is too high for a fool. It is. But it's Pastor Dow spoke the truth to you, true straightway. I may even come back and talk about another aspect a little bit later on. I think I've taken enough of your time, give you wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Again, don't be concerned about the world, because the world is not, especially religious people, they're not going to obey this Bible. They're not even going to keep the commandments. So just wipe them out of your mind. Your family don't get it. In other words, don't communicate with them. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand do. That's one of the principles of the art of war. All right. A lot of times you need to just know how to just live honestly and just before the Most High without having all this circus and theater and all this other junk, letting other people in so they can so-called put themselves on some type of judgment seat and pedestal and judge you when they and in no moral condition to judge nobody or nothing. You and you alone are responsible for the breath that is in your body and how you conduct life. The breath is on loan from the Most High. You're going to be judged based on the performance and whatever he has laid in your hands according to talents. And I'm going to finish the video on this. Some of you have actually still got that one talent that Yah's giving you. And when he comes, you're going to only present that back to him. And he's going to call you a wicked and a slothful servant. You know why? Because you're too damn lazy to get out and advance his kingdom. Somebody like me, he's going to say, well, son, let's see what you did in your life, huh? Well, I'm okay. Over here, you're a Gentile and did all that. We put that behind you and stuff. You know what I mean? You just one of them crazy things. You like jumping out of airplanes, rappelling out of helicopters. You was a veteran in the military. Okay, let's throw all that away. Let's see what you did in my kingdom. Huh. Man, let me see. You stepped out on faith, didn't you? You sure did. You actually moved out here. You bought a piece of land and moved out here. And you lived in trailers that cost $200, had holes in the floor, holes in the ceiling. You had to remodel all them, did a good job. You even learned how to build. Look at you. You even build homes out here. Wow. And you even orchestrated this and led this. And look how faithful you were with the men that I actually bought to help you build. And look at their homes that they're building. They are doing wonderful. You even built a tabernacle so people could come. And a deck. Oh, you even know how to do, let me see, custom cabinets. You can do masonry work. You can run heavy equipment. Man, you work hard. You even have went and helped other people build their homes and their community. Son, you know what? Servants, he's at 5, give him 10. And not only that, take that one that the only one that one could do is just play an instrument and that's it. That's all they done all their life. Take that one talent from him and give it to, oh, that's right. You even know how to play a guitar, a bass, and the drums. And now you even working on the saxophone. Son, you have been about my Father's business. You have just been about my business from the time that you have entered into this kingdom. Wow. And look at how many people you have given wise counsel to. You have raised sons in this. Because you have been an example. My son, Yisrael Charles. Man, I tell you, what a joy it is going to have you to come on into my kingdom, son. Just come on in. And you know what? I'm going to make you a ruler over this providence right here because of your faithfulness to me. And you even, look at there, you even had the faith to lay hands on the sick and they recovered. And you even raised a person from the dead as well in the world. And you casting out devils and teaching people how to do all this in my kingdom. Do you don't think that the Most High is going to say that he want to wrap his arms around me? I'm going to run to him. I'm going to throw, and all the crowns that he get, and I'm not sharing everything, and all the crowns that he give me, I'm going to take them right off my head. I'm going to lay them at his feet. I'm going to cry big, gigantic alligator tears, and I'm going to say, you alone are worthy. You alone. I couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. What a beautiful testimony. And some of you, the only talent you got, you don't play a guitar. That's it. Or piano. Some of you, the only thing you know how to do is work on a job for 30 years and that's it. You never expand your knowledge. Pretty much, you've wasted your life. Your work years is almost over. Your working years is pretty much, let me just throw a hypothetical number now, between 20 and 65. And if you'd use wisdom, because it takes, look, what the Bible say about wisdom? It takes wisdom to build a home, to build a city. And Straitway was built by wisdom. People mocked us when we first started because we had old rundown trailers. I lived in one for 9 years. I lived in a trailer with no running water. The back was out of it and everything else. I had plastic to cover it up for a few winters before I moved into another trailer. Put my hands to it, learn how to remodel that. Still no running water. 9 years I lived in a place with no running water. 9 years. And boy, was I happy. Man, I was happy. Boy, I was so happy. And then people come here. Well, look, you still got a few people living in trailers and he's living in that house. Well, I built this damn house. You got it? And let me rephrase that. I built this blessed, respectful house. I did. I labored and built it. I sure did. Me and a brother. You look, this man laid almost every single block of this building. Right here. Almost every single one of them. You better believe it. And you're going to get upset at me because you don't even own a home? The Bible's done come true for all of us at Straitway. He has given us, our natural family has rejected us, but he has given us brothers. He's given us lands. He has given us houses. He has given us sisters. He has given us wives. He's given us children. And we did all that because of one principle. We forsook all. Now, I've got lands in Kentucky. I got Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina. I got home. I can go almost anywhere in the United States of America and have a place to lay my head. And if I choose not to, I don't even have to sleep in a hotel room. You know why? I got brothers. I got sisters. Thank you, Father, for your way. And I'm watching all you religious people out there full of the devil who think you got wisdom and knowledge to understand something. And guess what? You know, the righteous always tends to plenty, but the wicked won't. You always live on a dream. I won't. Y'all gonna do. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the principle. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing until you get out there and start. And thou shall eat the labor of thy hands. Happy shall you be. Happy shall you be. And most you ain't got enough spirit in you to labor because you can't overcome your weak, sorry, defiled, funky flesh. The Most High gonna judge this. I hope I said something to encourage each and every last one of you to send me a thought. I really truly did. Maybe we'll come back later on with a part 2. Y'all have a wonderful day. The King is coming.